Cowboy.
some whiskey, and then like play that game. It's gonna be awesome.
Turn on some like old school
Hank
country
Williams.
music.
Yeah.
I have to admit, that was one game I kind of feel bad about it. Now, this is my high school girlfriend, so I guess I really shouldn't feel bad about it anymore. But I did lie to her.
Oh,
I did lie
Hot
to her.
take.
And I did lie to her so I can go pick up that game at midnight. She wanted to hang out. I hadn't seen her in a while, and I said, hey, I can't remember if I told her I was sick or I had to work. Either way, I lied, and I went and picked up the game and played it instead.
It's amazing.
For
Oh,
hours.
that's amazing. It was
Cowboys
such
gotta
a
do
great
it.
game.
Cowboys or go to my girlfriend's mom's house. I don't know. That's a tough one, right?
It was like a way better version of that game that came out for Xbox 360. Oh, sorry, Gun. Remember Gun?
Gun?
Yeah.
I loved
Gun was
that
fantastic.
game. Did you play it? Lev?
I've played it a little bit, but I didn't
Oh,
really
I
get into it.
love that game. Now, granted, it didn't have the replayability that that Red Dead Redemption had, but the stories are great. Leveling up was great. It was the story was great. I absolutely love that game. It was a larger world, but not as large as Red Dead Redemption. But yeah, that game was was that 360 or was that Xbox?
360 was a launch title for 360, or maybe not a launch title, but really close.
Good. It was so good.
Guys, I want to Broadway one more time here. I know we're
Don't do
jumping
it.
around a lot today.
You told me not to do it.
Okay, all right. Well, all right. Wyatt, you've got a hot rumor from the Nintendo world that I think released a couple weeks ago. We just haven't covered it yet, but lay it on us. What's the big rumor coming out of Nintendo?
The thing that I'm super excited about that I heard about was I don't understand why, but apparently the Nintendo NES Mini is being taken off the shelves. They're not making them for anymore. But the rumor is that they're creating a Super NES Mini. And since that one was really the one I really got into gaming growing up, I am super pumped if that ends up being true. I don't know why they're going around telling them that Nintendo screwed up with the NES Mini since it was selling off the shelf. And the reason they're shelving it is because they can't keep up with demand. That blows my mind. Like, you're calling it a disappointment, but you couldn't keep up with demand. Regardless of whether they stopped their campaign or not, but the Super NES, I mean, think about that. Super Mario World, Mega Man X, that mech game, Madden game, Zelda. I mean, there's just so many like games that I grew up playing on that thing that I just Mortal Kombat that I would love to have.
Mario World was on SNES.
Yeah, Super Mario World.
Super Mario World, not like Brothers or Brothers 2, but the one with Yoshi.
Yeah.
That was on
The first
SNES.
Yoshi one?
That's the one I remember playing the most.
Yeah, that's the one where it had an awkward ending where Bowser was in a blimp. I don't understand that, but
Yeah.
it was still extremely fun, fairly difficult. There's a lot of cool speed runs if you ever kind of watch that. It's kind of cool. to
And
watch
the
that.
price tag on that thing was like $60. Like, you
$59.99.
might as well like
Worth it.
pick it up.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
I got the mini, the NES Mini for my sister, and I played it before I gave it to her for Christmas, and it was a lot of fun. I was happy I got to do it. It wasn't, since I wasn't that into NES at the time, I got to play some of my favorite games and then pass it on, and I don't think I'd ever go back and get really hard that I couldn't buy one, but this one I would definitely make sure I'd get. But I remember in the NES Mini, since I played Techno Bowl, what was the name of the guy in Techno Bowl, the player that you couldn't beat for the Bears?
For the Bears, he's for the Raiders. Is it? Well, there's Walter Payton, and there's also like what's the guy's name?
What was the guy? What was the guy in Techno
Bo
Bowl?
Jackson.
Bo Jackson. You told your friend you couldn't be Bo Jackson because he can go off the screen and come back on the other side of the screen.
And
That
run
is
you
pretty
over.
unfair. if you
Yeah,
think
it
about
was the most unfair thing. It was like all the different unfair guys. I don't know. I'm just super pumped about that game.
I have some more Nintendo news.
Yeah, what's that?
They just announced that they're going to make another 2DS, but it's going to be XL. It's going to be a larger screen.
So weird.
It's so weird, but because they just released the Switch, now
Switch?
they're releasing a competing item.
Why don't
that
they just
competes-
go all in on the Switch as your
I don't know.
handheld item?
Well, it's
How
funny.
much? What's the price?
I'm
have
not
a
sure.
price?
I don't know if they released a price point yet.
Well, what is generally the price point for those handhelds when they're?
I would say like maybe like $80 to $100, $120 or something like that.
Are they?
I want to say
They
they're
cheap?
closer to $200.
$200?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, I don't know.
The PS Vita was like $200.
I bet it's like.
Well, because I just follow this like gamer thing on Reddit, and there's a lot of people saying the exact same thing, like what you said. Like, why aren't they going in all in on Switch? Why are they making a competing handheld not console, but like a competing whatever those things are called. I don't know, like
Yeah.
portable
It's because-
device. Yeah.
I think it's because the 3DS was still so popular. Like Japan is all about the mobile, handheld, portable.
You got a
market.
great one though. You got the Switch, which is like the best mobile handheld system you can have. Now I know, like battery life issues aside and stuff like that, but it's still just a great mobile. System.
Well, so far from what I'm from this image that they have on here, it looks like it's marketed to more of like Japan and more of a Chinese and Asian culture more than here in America. So it might just be released there prominently rather than here. You know, because was the Switch worldwide released, or was it started here in the U.S. and it's been
I think
gradually
it was actually one of the first worldwide same day releases. Was the
Okay.
Switch,
Okay. Cool.
But I bet you, I bet you it's probably. I think remember my working in my retail days. I think the handhelds are like $169, $159, which is half the price of a Switch. So you're getting half the product.
$150.
Yeah, so
$150.
I think that kind of does make a little bit of sense in the sense that, hey, I don't want to pay $300 for a console handheld when I just want the handheld, so I'll pay half of that and still get what I want out of it.
July 28th for $150.
And if I don't feel like having like a 3D experience with the 3DS, which a lot of people don't, and
this
maybe
is-
I want to play the most recent Pokemon, then maybe this is the system I get.
Well, this is just the 2DS. They're also releasing a 3DS version of it too.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, cool. I had one more piece of news that I wanted to get to. God damn, I can't remember what I want to talk about.
Well, I have another.
Oh.
What?
I got it. Sorry.
Okay.
It was a continuation of that last conversation we were having. So let's say, okay, SNES sells gangbusters, and that does a really good job. What if they go to the Nintendo 64 Classic? Like, don't you think that is just a instant buy for so many people? Like the SNES, okay, I know the audience that's going after that, they're going after there, but if they came out with a, let's say, $100 Nintendo 64 like emulator or whatever, it comes with like 2 Nintendo 64 controllers, you get $100 and you get a let's say 10 games, maybe 15
On
games.
one cartridge?
Yeah, built in, because
That'd
like
be
the
cool.
whole like
Okay,
NES
yeah.
and
Didn't
SNES
have
thing,
any
it's all
cartridge.
built in.
It
Like-
would have to be. You would have to get 30 games.
I would
There's no way I would do it. unless
100% buy that though. Okay, 30 games.
Yeah.
30 Nintendo 64's best titles, which I don't know if there are 30. There's probably 30.
Oh,
There's gotta be. Yeah.
Star Fox.
Like what's on there?
Pilot-
GoldenEye.
You're gonna name all 30 right now.
Yeah, I could easily. do
Name
that.
name me a few that have to be on there. in the Nintendo 64
Ocarina of
version.
Time, GoldenEye, Star
Majora's
Fox, Mario 64, Pilot Wings, Turok.
Turok.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yeah.
any sport game like
Mario
Madden.
Kart, too.
Jet Force Gemini.
Jet Force Gemini, Hang Time,
Yep.
Rampage,
Mario Kart.
NFL Quarterback Club
Mario Kart,
98.
Yeah, Mario
NFL
Kart.
Quarterback Club 98.
Yeah,
NFL quarterback 98.
I mean, you could throw even like Bomberman on there.
Wave Race 64.
Yeah, I mean, there's way too many. You can even put in like Robotron. I mean, that was a good game. Man, I'm starting to draw a blank now. Banjo Kazooie,
Donkey Kong 64.
Donkey Kong 64. Yeah, so I mean, you can do Mega Man 64. I mean, there's so many. There was there a Samus game, Metroid game? Was there a 64?
I don't know if there was.
I don't know if there was. Kirby.
Kirby, yep.
There was a Kirby game.
Yep.
Jeopardy.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, and that the Friday the 13th game, the Jason game, comes out May 26th.
That's my birthday. Oh, that comes out that soon.
Soon.
It's my
Yeah.
birthday.
That would have to be like.
What is that coming out for?
I think for PC and console
Oh my god, amazing.
for both.
All right, we're gonna have to play that with Buddy.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the final segment of our show. Before we do that, a couple plugs. I want to give a shout out to Signature's Millstone Tavern in Gahanna, Ohio, in the Creekside area for sponsoring our show. Guys, it's a great place to go and watch some of the NHL hockey that's going on right now. Watch Blev's Penguins beat up on the
And
Washington Capitals.
The Cleveland Cavaliers too. It's the NBA playoffs.
And the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Cavaliers.
Shout out,
Cavaliers.
Shout out to LeBron James, fan of the show. I assume. But
Totally, he has to be.
great place. Thank you so much to Signatures for being the first sponsor of the show. Also, if you want to reach out to us here at the show, remember that you can do that by sending an email to geeks, that's GEEKS, at HOTYB.co. If you have a suggestion for our scenarios, mini game, or just a question that you want us to read here on the air, we're happy to do that. And remember, if you do that, you are entered to win a free video game that we will pull from the internet and give to you. So please feel free to do that. Be the first person to do that, in fact.
Reach out to
free
us.
Video game. It's pretty easy.
Do it.
So go ahead and do that. Reach out to us again. That's geeks. That's GEEKS at HOTYB.co. And remember that soon we will have a website created so that you can watch us play video games. That's going to include watching a kid play Nintendo 64 who's never touched it in his life and get an understanding of how horrible of a controller that was. It will also be Buddy playing Outlast 2 and trying to get through the game alive.
Without crying or...
tie me down to a chair.
Yeah, probably.
I also am throwing down a gauntlet, a beatdown challenge for Injustice 2 when that comes out here in a couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm a DC geek, and I can't wait to play a Mortal Kombat DC-themed game. I'm going to beat the shit out of these guys here. That's right, I'm going to beat the shit out of these guys here. Gauntlet has been thrown WWE style. I'm calling you out, brother.
Just so you know that when you play against the Brogan in a game that he owns, he will not tell you the buttons, or at least the correct.
I already know that.
That's
hearsay.
No, I was playing him in NHL, and I was like, "How'd you do that?" And he just kept on playing. I was like, "How'd you do?" You kept on doing it. I was like, "How'd you do that?" And then he's like, "Oh, you do it like this." And I'm like, "Oh, after you beat
this
me."
home field advantage. You don't even own the game. You've never played it before, and then he plays against you, doesn't tell you the buttons, and then beats you in it, and he's like, "You piece of shit! I told you I'd beat you."
That is hearsay. All right. So, without any further ado, today's scenarios. Now, does anybody know the score? This is getting confusing. Does anybody know
Is it tied?
Brogan
Brogan
has two now.
Am I winning by one?
You're
still?
winning by one, and then Brogan has two.
And we don't know our points.
We don't know our points though.
This is episode 10,
Yeah.
so minus 8. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
math
I'm
doesn't
up by
work out,
one.
though.
I'm up by
Math doesn't
one.
work
He
out.
has two.
Wait, if
That's
I have
impossible.
two, I feel like you have
No,
at
it's
least
not.
3.
You'd have 7, so it'd be Blood 4, Wyatt 3, Brogan 2. Then.
That's the
And
score.
it's
Dang,
10.
look at
that.
you.
Math.
That's
Math.
the score.
Math.
He went to school. He paid attention.
You're still
So,
seeing the movie.
Moving
so
forward,
nice try.
I know that we've come up with a lot of different reasons for scenario, but moving forward, we are going to say that the rule is Buddy and I will count as one human. We are one team. If Buddy wins, I also get a point. If I win, Buddy also gets a
So what
point.
about the
That's how it
trophy?
works. Buddy and I will split the trophy
In half?
In half.
Okay.
I don't
But
understand
that's
how this
because
is
I will
fair.
either come up with scenarios or Buddy will either come up with game, and that's just how it works. And one of us will not play. So
Life isn't fair, Wyatt.
This is very true.
Yeah.
Life is not fair. Newsflash. Life's
Here
not fair.
I
is
have-
the scenario, and this is for Blev, Wyatt, and Buddy. And today's scenario is history-based.
Ooh.
History-based. And it is, if you could assassinate one historical figure
My God.
to better the human race,
How do you know?
who would it be and why?
Like
I'm going to
how?
let you guys talk amongst yourselves for a moment. I have to go pee.
You have to pee every podcast.
This is the time where I have to pee. It's becoming a tradition. And
Is this why you want to
just
do a
accept it.
scenariо? Because you're
Yeah.
like, in the back of your mind, it's like, I'm
Just
going to have to
accept
pee.
it.
I
So
need
you
to
guys
pee.
talk amongst yourselves. Come up with questions that you want to ask me. When I come back, the question round will be open. Again, the scenario is, which historical figure would you assassinate to best improve the human race today? Enjoy talking amongst yourselves.
That's an interesting one. Tough one.
I would say my first question would be:
What ramifications of killing this person
do
happens
we
later on?
envision like what we would believe would happen? Is that what he's saying by why? So you're like, hey, if I did this, this is what I believe will happen, or am I supposed to tell him what will happen and he will pick the best entertaining?
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
It has to be a historical figure, like they're
Yeah.
dead now.
Or they're still alive.
Are they- oh, yeah, they
historical
still- I mean-
significance. Who would you go back in time and assassinate if you could? So I don't know.
What if you? What could you assassinate somebody at a certain period of
Was it,
their
like-
life?
Every time I hear that, I automatically go to Hitler, and it's like, but then
Too easy of a go-to.
Hitler. and then, we'll all get
then he's
points.
like, I don't even know what to do.
All
right
I
now.
know is this kind of unfair. Well, why wouldn't he just? If you guys are the same person, wouldn't he just give you the point?
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
I'll just say how this is unfair because he would just
That's a
lean
great
towards you.
point.
It is. I just don't agree
There's
with
no
this.
bias.
Just so you know, by next podcast, we might have to revamp that whole idea because I'm going to